Hey buddies, I just wanted to make a quick video on what I think in the NFL, what's going to happen in the NFL this year. So this is my NFL 2013 forecast. So let's get started. I'm going to start in the AFC East. You have the Jets, the Pats, the Bills, and the Fins. This division is honestly the same every year, at least in the past like 7 or 8 years. The Patriots are going to obviously win the division, and I predict them going somewhere in the 12-4 range. The Bills and the Fins will be close to the same, 7-9, 8-8. And I think the Jets are actually going to be the laughingstock of not only the AFC this year, but the entire NFL. I predict them going about 3-13, and I could see Rex Ryan being fired after this year. So moving on to the AFC North, you have the Ravens, Browns, Steelers, and Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to win the division this year. I have them going 11-5. I think they have done the best since the draft, and I think their offense is really good, especially with Dalton. I think he's going to improve this year. I think the Ravens will squeak by at 10-6, and I think they will make the 5th or 6th seed at wild card. I have the Browns going 7-9, and the Steelers going around 7-9. And sadly, the Steelers are my team. But just watching in the preseason, and I know preseason don't mean really anything, but just watching the first string play in the preseason, the line looks abysmal. I see Ben running for his life, and losing Mike Wallace. Not that he was really great last year, but losing him and then Plexico Burress to injury, we're really hurting there. Tight ends, Heath Miller's hurt. I guess he's not coming back till sometime in the beginning of the regular season. I think they said maybe even possibly he might miss the first 4 games. So, I mean, unfortunately, for the Steelers, I don't see a really good season. But I will say Steelers, as they play the underdog role, they usually surprise people. So the Steelers might go like 12-4. I don't know. I think they're going to be basically the wild card of teams in the AFC. Steelers tend to be, they play to their competition. I mean, watch the past couple of years, you've seen like whenever they play a really bad team like the Chiefs or the Browns, they lose, or it's at least a close game where it goes into overtime. But when they play the Patriots or whatever, or the Ravens, man, they usually make it like it's a war of attrition, man. They're in the game. So anyway, talking too much about the Steelers, sorry, that's just my team. So like I said, I think the Ravens will be 10-6 wild card, and Bengals 11-5. I think they'll win the division. Moving on to the AFC South, you have the Texans, Jaguars, Colts, and Titans. In my opinion, I think that the Texans will win the division. I'm thinking they're going to be another like 12-4 team, maybe 11-5, like the Patriots. With Matt Schwab and at quarterback and whatnot, Arian Foster at running back. They have a pretty good defense. I see them winning the division. The Jaguars, I see a pretty bad team. I'm thinking 6-10. The Titans, 7-9. I know they got Jake Locker. He's a young quarterback, but I really don't see nothing there that shows me that they're a playoff team. My surprise pick for that division being the wild card is the Colts. I think Andrew Luck, I could see them going 10-6 and snagging the 6th spot where the Ravens take 5th or vice versa. Moving on to the AFC West, you have the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs. This is a pretty bad division. I have the Broncos winning out, and I think they're going to get 1st seed overall. I think they're going to be about 13-3 with Peyton Manning, great quarterback. He's going to be throwing the Wes Welker and other guys. Their defense is pretty stout, so I have the Broncos being 1st seed overall at 13-3. Chargers, again, they just tend to be an 8-8 team every year. I have the Raiders going about 9-7, and the Chiefs, even though they picked up Andy Reid as a head coach, I think he has a lot of work to do there, and I see them going about 5-11. So, so AFC overall, Patriots, Bengals, Texans, and Broncos, and then the 2 wild cards, I have Ravens at 5th and Colts at 6th. So, moving on to the NFC, we'll start in the NFC East. You have the Cowboys, the Skins, the Eagles, and the Giants. This is a pretty subpar division. It used to be stronger a few years ago, but I think that the Redskins will win the division with RG3 at quarterback, being that he's so versatile that he can run and throw the ball. I think Brian Orakpo's back from injury as a linebacker, so he was out all last year, so I think he'll be able to make a big influence. So I have the Skins winning the division, going about 11-5, and then the other teams following. I have the Cowboys, like I said, 8-8. They've been 8-8, it seems like, the past 5 years. Eagles, 6-10. They lost Andy Reid. I think it's going to be a slow year for the Eagles. And I have the Giants going at about 9-7. The Giants, man, they're weird. Like, They never really haven't had a good record in the past few years, but somehow they sneak in the playoffs, barely winning the division or a wild card in the past few years, and they've beaten the Patriots twice. So you never know with the Giants, but I have them not going to the playoffs this year. Then there's the NFC North. You have the Lions, the Bears, the Packers, and the Vikings. This is a pretty decent division. I have the Lions going about 8-8. I really don't feel very good about their quarterback, Matt Stafford. He seems injury prone, and I don't know, even though they do have Calvin Johnson, probably the best receiver in the NFL. The Bears, I think it's going to be a weaker year for the Bears with Jay Cutler. I mean, he seems, again, they have a bad line like the Steelers. I see them also going about 8-8. The Packers, the true team of this division, I see about 12-4. They're probably going to be about second seed, I would guess, in the conference. And the Vikings, even though they have AP, they're weak at the quarterback. I have the Vikings missing the playoffs. I think they're going to be kind of the upset team this year where they don't do good. I have them going 9-7. Moving to the NFC South, we have the Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, and Saints. This is another pretty weak division. The Bucks really haven't impressed in a while. They have Josh Freeman at quarterback, but I don't know. I see them going about 7-9. The Falcons, I think they had a great run last year with Matt Ryan and whatnot, but I think they're going to miss the playoffs this year. I see them going about 9-7, about the 500 mark. And the Panthers, they have Cam Newton and whatnot, but I don't know, that team, it just seems subpar. I don't know. They have the talent, but they can't gel together. So they're definitely going to be below 500, maybe like 7-9, 6-10. I think the Saints are gonna be the team. They got their coach back, Sean Payton. So I think Drew Brees is going to be great this year. I see the Saints going 10-6 and winning the division. And finally, moving on to the NFC West. This is probably the toughest division in football out of both conferences. You have the Cards, 49ers, Seahawks, and Rams. I think the Cardinals are going to be horrible this year. I see them going about 4-12, probably the second worst record next to probably the Jets up in the AFC. You have the 49ers. I see them going about 11-5. A lot of people were thinking they're going to do better than that. I think they're going to take a step back, to be honest with you. The team I really see stepping up is the Seahawks with Pete Carroll. He's a newer head coach. And Russell Wilson at quarterback. They have a great... They're probably, I would say, the best defense in the NFL, the Seahawks. I see them going 13-3 and winning the division. And the Rams with Sam Bradford, I see them going 9-7. They might squeak by as a wild card. It might surprise people. But so to conclude the NFC, I have the Skins going 11-5, the Packers 12-4, the Seahawks 10-6, and the Seahawks going 13-3. And, I see the 49ers probably being a wild card. Obviously, they're probably going to be a wild card. And some team like, I don't know, this was tough to decide. Maybe like the Vikings might squeak by as a wild card. Or the Rams. I think the Rams have the possibility to maybe upset people. So, Super Bowl pick, I have the Broncos going versus the Seahawks. I think it's going to be a very close game. I see it settled less than 6 points. It's going to be just a one-possession game. And I'm actually not going to take a pick. I think it's such a coin flip. I see it being a 50-50 game. It's just whoever basically might have the ball last, or it's going to be a close game. I think it's basically the Broncos' very stout or very tough offense versus the stout defense of the Seahawks. So that's my Super Bowl pick, and I think it's a coin flip. So. All right, well, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your picks? Who do you think is going to win the divisions? Who do you see as wild cards? Who's your surprise team? Who's your team that did really well last year but is going to be abysmal this year? Just let me know. So, all right, well, thanks for joining me, guys. See you later.